liberty, and justice for all.
I identified any problem with them, so I move we approve minutes of Wednesday, April 10th as recorded.
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Green's here. Got Wes at 2:45. Keith Record of Guidance Center, do we know?
She responded, it must be this.
Okay. Did you grab a copy of the proclamation from yesterday?
Now I can go get one, it's downstairs.
Okay, we probably need to read that off and get it in the minutes. We got that proclamation for the sisters and the Queens here ready to go.
Joe?
I thought he'd be here, but I haven't talked to
He
him.
made it here about 2:15.
For the proclamation for the Mount Sisters that celebrate their 150th birthday. Whereas 150 years ago at this time, an ambitious town was building itself along the Missouri River. And whereas in the fall of 1863, leaving St. Cloud, Minnesota, a group of 7 Benedictine sisters began their historical journey to this mighty community to fill their educational need. And whereas reaching Atchison at 11 o'clock on an early November evening, carrying across the Missouri River, these pioneering women arrived and slept in their clean new convent. And whereas Mother Evangelista made an entry in the title page of the Foundation's first account book, St. Scholastic Academy, Atchison, City of Kansas, November 11th, 1863. And whereas today the Community of Benedict Sisters of Mount St. Scholastica continues its devotion to a communal life of prayer, work, and hospitality. Now, therefore, on behalf of citizens of Atchison County, I, Jeffrey Shealy, Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, along with my fellow Commissioners Mike Bodenhausen and Henry William Pohl, do hereby offer the Sisters of Mount St. Scholastica and Sister Ann Shepherd, Prioress of said monastery, our most sincere thanks and gratitude for all your 100 years of service to the community. We may be among everyone wishing you upon a happy 150th. It was a really good turnout, so good. So, I think they estimated over 1,000 or something like that. I thought I heard something like 1,000 people. And they got a copy of that text, so you proclamation. Reed, I guess we're going to
Ready for me?
start early.
I have no problem.
You got a problem we had a schedule?
Yeah, it doesn't happen to me very often.
Had a schedule under budget? This is whatever.
Yeah, pass that around, that'd give me a lot of work.
No, it wouldn't. Everybody would just assume you inflate the budget on it.
You think you did that the other day?
Oh, well, I have a few things here. One thing I was going to return to you, Pauline, or get to you, Pauline, is the original bid.
Okay.
But you can keep that for
Okay.
whatever reason. And then this stuff was going to go to Joe. As you recall, and maybe I should go through this a little bit just for interest. Performance Contracting Group was our parent low bidder, and he came in with a base bid of $110,454, and he had alternate bid number one, which was $35,310, and alternate bid number two, well, alternate bid number one was for the window replacement. Alternate bid number two was for door replacement, and that was $39,270. All told, that comes up to $185,034. And that was within the budget that we established significantly. It raised a little concern on my part because I wasn't sure, but I didn't know this gentleman. And so I called him and I went through several things that I just wanted to know about, make sure that he had them in his bid. And we talked about some of the technical parts about supporting the lintels, or supporting the brick as the lintels were being taken out, and all those things. I did find out that he attended the pre-bid conference. I attended, or had someone else attend, meet with Joe several times during the bidding process.
He did, you said?
Yes, and I got some references that I knew professionally, a couple of other architects, and I called them, and they said, "You will love him." So I thought that was good. For an architect to love a contractor is unusual. But, just the nature of, we're usually confrontational. But seemed like a really good contractor. I was surprised about the things that I found out. One of the other contractors who I'd had a lot of discussion with, and who was probably my favorite to going into this, had I was hoping that he would get it. It turned out that he and this was a masonry contractor. He had worked for this gentleman once upon a time, and so I thought that this kid learned what he learned from this guy that told me what I didn't know about the guy that he was about to hire. So, all that being said, I would recommend that you do, in fact, approve the contract pending approval from the state historic society. They've still got to look at it. They do have the contract in hand, and they've got in this packet are things that Joe needs to provide them, but I think they've got everything here that we can provide. I think they've got that stuff in hand. Joe has to provide proof that 21 days elapsed before the closing bid. If you remember, during the process, we had to delay the bid so that we would be sure that we did get 21 days in before the bid date. Got copies of all the bids that were included. Got a tally sheet that I think Katrina Ringler, who works for the Kansas State Historical Society, she has those in her possession now. But just other things like they just want to cross their T's and dot their I's about who attended and what our recommendations are, why our recommendation is what it is, and so all this documentation is for Joe to send to the state and get the final approval.
All those recommendations came in good. What would you, or could you foresee as some change orders that would be made?
Well, it is renovation, and there will undoubtedly be some surprise somewhere that we get. I've just kind of gone through this package, which is for you.
Okay.
And that is all the things that you need to supply the Kansas State Historical Society. I think, and I'm not quite sure that she has everything. I know that Katrina's got the contract, and I'm pretty sure she has a bid tabulation, but all that stuff is in here anyway, so.
Yeah, she wants it all in one package.
Okay. Well, you have to find out, did you, following the newspaper meeting? Okay. I think that's about all the other stuff that you've got that you need in here.
She told me that everything that I needed, I've got it in minutes here, and I can put it all together. I'll email it or mail it.
I know that she's had Katrina's had the opportunity to look at the contracts. I don't know if you had any comments about the contract.
I've reviewed, they're extremely similar to the contracts that we used on the elevator contract. So, yeah, I've not.
But I see somewhere on a sheet, I don't know if I find it, they just say 60 days to complete the job. It seemed like there's anywhere from 60 days, there was different.
Yeah.
I don't know that I stood around.
Yeah, and I don't know that 60 days was ran over 15 days, I wouldn't think.
I don't.
That'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
But, I think we have to have something so that we don't just let it drag on forever.
What about, like overages, so like, my concern is it's an older building, I know that we typically run into, issues or problems, is there any concern about?
I never did answer your question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. That, you are asking exactly the same question.
Okay.
That Mike asked, and I was like, before Joe came in, I was just saying that, you know, it is renovation, so we're gonna run into something that we don't anticipate. Hopefully, they will be small things, but, you know, I think I've got everything that I can conceive of covered. There are some, places that I couldn't see, things behind the panels and, where doorways been blocked in or something like that that I can't see. Certainly when you start to dig into the walls and start to, pull things out, there'll be some surprises, but, I don't think it's that complex, honestly.
We shouldn't be getting the water, you know, our.
No, we should not be hitting water lines.
Our bathroom project here at the courthouse, we get issues a lot more, and they didn't have to be a big change order, but we really shouldn't have that
Yeah,
out there.
I think we're gonna be okay.
With that, I would hope that we start in the room that's already been tore up, and that way if something.
Northwest, that northwest one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That way they get a sample of both the red brick and the other brick.
Mm.
Something comes up that's too big, we can stop it right there, just like we did before, and you know, regroup from there. Because, you know, it's always possible something, but if they get a sample of both of those, then I don't know what else could come up. I mean, I'm sure there are something.
I say that on every job.
Yeah.
I ran into one of the bidders, who was from Alabama or whatever. Anyway, I said, you know, what's up with these bids? He said, well, Bill, I have some research. He said, that is the toughest mortar. And he also said that he thought the windows, the brick on the outside of the windows would have to be, you just couldn't put the windows in from the inside or whatever. He said, you're gonna have a lot of change orders. He said, I'm just telling you this because we didn't get it. He said, there's no way if they leave that for that.
So,
Is that how it was bid, just, they only, what they, I guess I'm a simple guy, I just figured if they had to, if you want windows taken out and put back in, doesn't matter how many bricks you have to take out, you have to take that into account.
you would,
Yeah.
you would.
I mean, I didn't know whether something specific.
The thing that I have, and I think maybe what the L and L guy is alluding to, is getting those bricks out could cause damage to bricks. And then if you don't have enough brick to go back with, in that color range, it's gonna look funny. And it's gonna be my job to make sure that any brick that is replacement, is as close a match as we can get. You know, we aren't anticipating having to take the brick where the colored bricks are in there. We're not anticipating having to take those, brick out, because we're trying to take those, that's why I had them do it from the inside out, where the colored brick is. And, where the red brick is, that's easier to match and doesn't make that much difference. I think those windows that you've got now go in and come out. They've got a channel that they sit in, and I don't think that there's going to be a big problem. I didn't see anything that would mean that you would have to tear the window apart or tear the walls apart to get the windows out. And knowing that these are not the original windows, I would find it very unusual if they put them in and had to re-brick around them in order to hold them in place, particularly aluminum windows. Those things are made to set in, pull out. So, and that's what we're doing with our new windows, is aluminum windows set in the channel, very similar.
Well, I guess that is one of the things that came across my mind too, knowing that the windows were taken out weren't the originals. And I doubt that there'd been much disruption to the bricks in order to do that. So with that in mind, really the only brick disruption should be somewhere on the windows.
I would think so. You know, and this is renovation. You just never know. There'll be surprises, and, you know, and that, I guess that's a good thing about being under budget like we were. We've got some wiggle room there, I would hope. I would hope as a commission, you could stand a little bit of pain associated with change order if it had to happen. I mean, nobody likes change orders, but it's part of life when you're doing historic preservation type work.
That'll be all right as long as they don't get over, you know, that's what's good, I have no problem.
That's the reason why I'd love to see them go ahead and do that one room first, and then if they come in with a change order that was huge, then I think it'd be time to say, you know, somebody else will do this job. I assume
Can you do that?
It'd be more of a question for Pat, I think.
Could we rebid the project? I mean, we'd have to look at what the circumstances were for it, but, potentially, if it's a big enough change.
I just don't.
But
I don't
that would be
see that.
fairly unusual, but
Once you get going, it's probably, that's it, I guess, unless you're even statutory basis, but even then, that would be a stretch in this case. You have to contract with the falls, you might say.
This guy gave Joe a compliment, said he's very particular, and he suggested a walkthrough between Joe and them, so they know what Joe's expecting.
We always do that, we always have a pre-construction meeting so that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some scheduling and stuff like that too.
And he called Joe Picky?
No, well, I said particular. Which is not bad.
That's a good thing. No, that's the kind of people you want on your side.
That's right, make sure it's done right.
What was the original amount that we were anticipating budget-wise?
I think $250 for everything.
So I'd say around
That's not something you want to say out loud.
Turn the camera off, will
Well, that's been out there.
Oh, no, they know what my anticipated budget was.
Yeah, particularly the locals.
You bet, yeah, and, you know, that's something that I'm not afraid to give them. It doesn't mean diddly when it's time to bid, and they don't base their bids upon what my estimate is, because I'm not a contractor. I don't have to put labor to it like they do, and, you know, they know the ins and outs of it.
So if we would happen to have a problem, you're kind of the middleman between Joe and the contractor?
Yes, yeah, I'm your advocate in the process, is what my job is for you.
Would you feel comfortable, Joe, based on what he's doing?
Yes, everything that I've heard, it sounds like they're a legitimate contractor. It sounds like they'll do some good job.
Got a couple more old people here
I
too.
was saying, do you have any comments you'd like to make, either one of you?
We're just supportive of, we'd like to see it, I think it'd make a great improvement to the building, help with the utilities quite a bit with the windows and doors.
I agree with that.
Good.
And I don't have any concerns with it either. We've also we have some history with this architect, and they did a great job, I think, on the elevator project, so. It wasn't you, it was Sarah.
It's my job to take credit for this stuff.
We saw you on the signing the day you picked up the check.
That doesn't need to go on the record either, but.
I am kidding about that. He also did give us some free advice about the front door to the building there. And remember when Jack had come up and talked to us about the ADA on the front door, and took 10 minutes and gave us a little bit of advice. So it was much appreciated.
So I guess you need approval from us pending, and that would be pending the approval from the
Right.
historical society. I would move we accept the bid for windows and door replacement on Memorial Hall, PCI Lima, for the amount of $185,034, and that's pending approval from the historical society.
Have a second.
I second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried 3-0.
Terrific. I'll give a call to the contractor, let him know we're waiting on approval from the state, and then we'll go forward. Hopefully get him started right away.
Yeah, how long do we expect to take to hear back from?
I'll find out. He's got 60 days on his bid, and, I don't know how quick he can get on it, but I'm assuming he can get on it right away. I don't think I asked that question when I talked to him.
Didn't you say that his windows were coming from local here?
Yes,
That's the one-
yeah, Emery Glass, right next
Emery
door.
Glass is the one that he's using as his,
I think one of those bidders said that they're approximately about 30 days from when they started those bidders, of course, that, it's not that good.
I think I seen something with 60 days.
60 days.
they predicted 60 days, but that would probably be a little over what they actually thought to, kind of cut this in. I'm sure Emery's gonna take a few days to,
Maybe I can process it.
yeah.
I had a list of questions that I asked him, and I don't have them with me. I don't remember if I asked him how fast he got on the project, but we'll try to get him on there as quick as possible.
Kimber, what was the original deadline as far as trying to finish, we set like a end date or estimated date of completion?
It was just 60 days from the
60
date of
days.
the signing of the contract is what.
I think we've been targeting this summer all
Yeah.
along, and I don't know that we have a deadline necessarily just to be done this summer.
There's no monetary penalties or anything for it.
No, I was just curious to see kind of what,
Well, it's completed this year.
Yeah. Now, some of them were predicted in 6 months, but I think this particular guy was 60 days.
We're good?
Good.
Okay.
We probably, on a deal like this, we would probably pay everything up front before we get the grant money.
Is it gonna be in stages like ours?
probably the stages.
I think you can do it in a couple of stages, but you have to have something completed. I don't know what that would be.
I had to get with her to do the stage part, so did you do that with her?
I don't know if there is any stage, I mean, there has to be something completed. I don't know where we would complete anything.
Can you
Unless
do
maybe
the side?
There'll be
Can you,
something.
that's what we did.
There'll
we
be
did
some,
side.
usually they send you a bill right off the bat for bonding and, mobilization and stuff like that, whatever they have to do, buying materials. And bring materials to the site or store them in a bonded warehouse. I doubt that there would be a lot to this because it's such a small project, but, and there's only gonna be 2 pay requests, or maybe 3 pay requests anyway. So,
We gotta be sure we have the money to pay it, that's what they're asking. You might ask.
I will ask and see if I can get any pay, during the project, and if I can, I
If
will.
we split ours, this one over here in 2, we did the north, that's one complete, and the south on the same last, and then
Okay, I'll see if I can do that, and if I can, I will. It had to be applied that way, so, and I think it was, so I guess we could do it 3 payments. I will find out, though.
Okay.
And if we can, I will.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, can you take a look at this and just... Okay. Awful lot of flags that, what's the word, I don't understand what the necessity is. big, there's a couple ones that we hang out outside.
It's a 3x5, that's just a kind of non-flag, so I'm sure they charge you so much for the screening of it, it's probably pretty expensive, but I can check it out to make sure.
Cause I'm just curious how often we go through this one a year, or what's
Well, 2 or 3 a year.
2 or 3 a year?
Yeah, you get it in the spring, and you have that real strong wind that touches strings up pretty quick. And that one is actually pretty ragged right now, or it was, I don't know if it is today. But I'll ask him why, but I'm sure it's because of the cost, it's probably the biggest cost is setting up that first flag, and so,
Maybe we could look at if we're going through 2 or 3 years, should we look at a different flag company, or?
that's what the flag will last. It's, when they're outside, especially up high, Memorial Hall, one good wind, and it'll tear it to pieces. And that's any flag you get, we have a lot of different ones, because it's so high, and when you get that high, and they really, it'd be just like driving down the highway, 40, 50 miles an hour with a flag, it wouldn't last for long. And once they get tore up, and we're gonna replace them. The bigger flags, they take an extra, some inches off of it, and resew them, but they consider it to be worth that. Those flags that are flown up high in commercial, I don't think you could, at least 2 a year. So, if you keep them up. But I'll find out for sure on what the costs are, so I can give you a positive answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Joe, I brought one of those parking on the slab thing there. I've been during the there, you know, just looking back at it. It's a concrete, you can just look at it and see. I mean, even if it takes 2 of us to make one deal.
Yeah.
It costs $4,000 to work on a curb cut on one side.
Really?
So I would say $4,000.
You go look at it and see.
But actually, it's 2.
Just pretty, because we don't have any use for it, and I think that they would serve that purpose.
Okay.
I'm out, yeah.
Okay, I'll work that flag.
Okay, yeah, it's a very white truck.
Okay.
Unless I make it real quick. Man, real quick. I guess we were ready to schedule.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I had, the contract for the, household hazardous waste grant. There's 2 copies here. That's the contract with the Secretary of Health and Environment. It's a 60/40 grant for the household hazardous waste out the recycle, or the transfer station. I had, I don't know, anything there?
I really didn't have
Anyway,
much look.
this contract amount not to exceed $28,000.
That's interesting, they, 20,000 for total cost, not their share.
No.
The way they worded this, we were awarded you a grant for 28,000.
Need a motion to sign the Kansas Household Hazardous Waste Grant application. Program.
I would second that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried 3-0.
need a copy of this, or?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, you don't have to make a copy if you don't want.
Okay, I'll have to do it downstairs. Okay, that's gonna be yours. This takes too long, so.
No, okay.
Unless you wanna take this,
You have
maybe
to
a
make-
copy.
Have to make a copy.
Yeah, let's put it on the desk,
Also, this pollution insurance, with, Harry Kaplinger. This was in my box, Pauline was.
he emailed it to me, so I put it in the box.
Okay, all right. I guess this was a quote for the pollution insurance for the transfer station. It's an amount of $42,940.60. I don't know a lot about it, to be honest with you.
That's what I was just asking Bill, it's like it's a little more specialized, I don't know if that's a good price,
Yeah, he said that, that was real specialized insurance and,
Yeah, Big was just here.
Well, this is some renewals, what it is.
yeah, right,
Is this a 1 year?
3 years.
It's a 3 year. Well, there's also an addendum here that if we decide not to include terrorism, why we $2,000 less to, did you get that?
Yeah, I saw that on the back of the sheet there. But, I'm kind of with you on that,
you laid out a
Don't
question
know
is that.
hardly
it is
anything
big.
about that. It's the first time I've really had to deal with it.
I would assume it's like that before our time, I assume they would bid it before, hadn't they?
Well, it was, if I remember correctly, it was bid out, several years ago, and then, was it 2 or 3 years ago, it came up again.
I think it's every 3 years.
I think Dick Locke said, I think that he could only find one underwriter who's writing the business.
What are the other counties doing? This can't be anything.
That I don't know, and it certainly could be, we could easily find that out.
I'd just be curious to see what other counties are doing, if this is the right amount. I mean, the other question is the coverage levels, and I don't know if the terrorist coverage is a bad thing to put on, because I don't know what exactly
Well, I really don't know what terrorists, I guess, could do at the transfer station, but. Yeah, I blow up the trash, I don't know. I don't think that would be a big part of it, but, I guess you never know.
Yeah, it might be if you were doing chemical, some sort of chemical.
like household hazardous waste,
Yeah.
or...
Yeah, but I wouldn't think it'd be enough there that would cause enough problems. I think maybe we just need to, just check around a little bit, if we're sure
That
about it.
amount, it'd be very wise to do some checking.
Once there's like a listserv for solid waste management around the state. What they can get.
Maybe KSU or something.
Yeah, I could put it on there, on the, administrator.
Email the county clerk. Because most of them pay bills.
Do what?
Most of them pay bills, so then some of them
Well,
won't.
clerk should know.
Yeah, or solid waste man, I'm sure there's something.
They probably know what they pay, but when they know
What exactly is needed.
what, yeah, exactly is needed and what the coverage is, would be the only thing.
I'd say see if we can find like if Pat's been slipping out on KC or something.
Yeah, 'cause like I said, that's something new, so,
Well, it would be, because you know,
yeah, I don't know anything about it.
I'm just looking here to see if there's a renewal date.
I don't know, because there's no declaration page, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know what exactly is covered, it's just,
Their policy period is from April 11th, so apparently our anniversary date is up, so.
so you're limiting liabilities, deductible, but I don't know exactly what. There's a lot of endorsements that go into it, but. Cut down some ideas, I'm sure you will back.
I think I got it.
You probably got a copy of it, did you, Kathy, do you?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, that's good email.
Thanks for reading.
Okay, right.
So the, thing today was a big hit, or?
Yeah, I guess so. I was there for a while, and then we had kids with multiple soccer games the rest of the morning, but I guess they have a big, they had so many tires, I guess, down Sherman Road. I guess a bunch of volunteers got together and picked up just a ton of tires. So I think it was like 100, I don't know, just try to buy it, I was guessing 100, 150 tires. That's, that's,
You just left them there.
that was,
I
somebody from the
answered.
city,
I don't know what time you called me, but I called you back.
we went like that morning, and then I was out in the
my
farm in the
shop.
afternoon.
When I'm in my shop, I don't get a phone
I
number.
see it still coming through and taking tires.
Really?
That's not good enough to use it.
I drove, we were headed to the racetrack yesterday, we drove by and I seen a guy sorting through there, so I guess he's recycling.
He'd probably go home and take them tires and throw his tires in the ditch to be sure that wasn't on.
Yeah, I heard there were some massive loads that showed up. I think I heard something about 200 plus tires on one individual and 150 plus.
I think in some of the years past, then they loaded them like.
They did like 6 or 8 up until about 10:30. Then it's kind of fill up, and when I got the call, it was probably a little after 11. I think it filled up the semi-load. That's quite a bit of tires you could put on there.
So they're gonna bring another truck up and pick them up?
Yeah, Wednesday, he called me like this morning, Joe from Champlin said that Wednesday morning he's gonna come pick them up, and I think maybe Mike Matthews had some from shooting range or something like that, had some more tires, so he's gonna come up, so if he has some more tires that need to go anywhere, I'm sure that he could probably put them on the semi.
Alright.
Most of them.
No hoe and no loader.
Hose should be done this week, load boy's still in the works, they were hoping they'd have some this week. Yeah, hopefully we'll have, he thought we should have the hose by the end of the week.
Okay, first, the requisition for chemicals. This is our second shipment that we've got in. Looking left will be like $1,000 partial order.
That's where we get this one.
Looking at all here, the pictures. So we were discussing on Thursday.
How did the evacuation go there? Everybody knew what they were supposed to do?
I hadn't made it here for the evacuation. Hadn't made it for the evacuation, but safety committee has put that on their list of training.
we were over here, appraiser's office downstairs. Nobody ever notified me.
No one notified them, correct.
Well, they probably like need to have a designated area so they're accountable, instead of just going here, there, and yonder, you probably want to
Each
go find
department's
it.
supposed to account for their own,
I see.
which I account for my own.
It's always good to get something in place when something happens like that, much pressure on the mind.
We'll review our policy and, come up with a new one and do a training, do our fire drills, tornado drills, and everything else. Yep.
This is the room that Kyle's in?
Correct.
Is Roger in there?
Not yet. Get them in there until we make the room.
And what stuff are we looking at? I see the postage.
This is obviously where Kyle's desk is.
That's it, that's,
That's his actual desk. This is the south wall. That's the east wall. That is also the east wall, double picture. That's more of the south wall. That's right at the door. That's where Roger will be sitting. And that's the door. This door is right here. So that's the
server, that's switches.
Yep. All these election permits.
What's the wheelchair?
Alan is for Vicky when it's just there,
Whenever she's
it's
on.
just pushed in there in the nighttime and then,
When she's not around.
So do we have plans, so you need it cleaned out?
So we'll, yeah, we'll put Roger's desk here. We have to find a place for the postage machine.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put another workbench to be able to work on computers on. And we're not gonna get it all in. That's pretty cool.
Is election stuff, I know you just had elections, are you moving election stuff down to the employment office?
my supplies, I've gotta have those. And that's what we agreed on when I cleaned out the first, that I would get at least that wall.
The problem is you shouldn't have to jump over stuff to get to your desk. And that's, you can't work there because you can't get to your own desk.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't have any other place. We have no room to,
We put it down, isn't all the election stuff down at the employment office? We move, would we better to
but
keep it all?
see,
in
I've
one
gotta
spot?
have, when the election workers are coming, I can't have somebody down at the unemployment office the whole day for election workers. And that's just a store. Give me another room, I will.
Well, we look at it just looks like there's stuff on two different walls. That's what I think is probably, am I at?
Well, I mean,
Which wall is she talking about? The,
south
I'm
wall would be
talking about the
this
This
south
wall.
wall.
This one and that one,
okay.
and that's the east wall. It's just, I mean, that's too many pictures. This is the one I'm looking for, this one, I mean. Did you jump over to get to your desk? When they were actually filling election ballots, and you couldn't walk in there at all. And I mean, there's no way that I can fit Roger in there and a computer desk and all of that. It's, I mean, physically impossible.
Let's see, now you should have a project there, and you have a place down in the basement, you know?
He does, but right now, where he's at, people walk into the appraiser's office and he has to stop what he's doing to try and help them when he really doesn't have much to do with the appraiser. He's much interaction with people, so you wouldn't get, you get stopped in the middle of what he's doing, and then you have to remember what you were doing and go back to it. And then the plan was, I believe, to put Chase where Roger was. Like after you move Roger up there, then you would move Chase into Roger's area down there.
Well, I think so. I think some of your stuff would usually fit down the Frazier's downstairs.
So that was free that room, wasn't it? Is that really hard work for your stuff?
To put my,
Whatever.
Oh, put your election stuff in?
me pack my ballots and stuff. And just leave my supplies next to the wall.
I'm not gonna lie, I would like to move the postage machine either up there on that wall or down the basement, and the shredder too. Because you're not gonna fit two more desks and a table in there, one more desk and a table in there is the way we are. It's not gonna happen.
On the first floor in that room.
Well, there's not really a room, it's an open hallway. No saying. But one place we have to move is either that or up on the third floor in one of the offices that are storage. I don't think everybody wants to walk the third floor every day to do postage. Nor do I think we need a postage machine that's that big.
Could there be room in the, Usher Dean's place? I think that's
I'm
another one I
I'm not answering that question. I don't see room in there, though, at all.
Do we have any storage like downstairs for like?
Yeah, the downstairs hallway is all storage. Several people have all, a few have all down there, right? Fraser and Ford, and then maintenance has a storage room down there, and you have another storage, yeah, you have two storage rooms, so. And then the appraiser's office, and then the boiler room, and then, what else on there? What else is down there?
Mr. Dees has a vault, Quartz has a vault,
There's the details all downstairs.
Treasurer's has a vault.
Treasurer's table. Yeah. Yeah, there's storage out there, but I don't know if it's quite full, wouldn't you say?
What's it for?
I've never been in the rooms. I've been in treasurer's because we are on all of our wiring to the treasurer's vault.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've ever been in, so.
Records that you have to keep.
I think where Roger's at, so how's that, he's kind of, the cubby hole.
Yeah, that could have, yes, they have those partitions up there or whatever, but people just put the wire around that. And it's like, yeah, I need help. And then he has to go find someone, because he doesn't know all this phrasing and stuff. He has GIS. So he has to walk around and find somebody.
Could not move into that back room. In the appraiser's office where he was before he moved up to Sam's desk. There's a room.
I mean, there's printer here and desk here and.
Not a protector.
Not a printer back there, that's huge printer takes up half that room. Printer scanner, so. I know, I've ran through all the options, but I can think of.
Can you combine the appraiser's office?
Go ahead and register on this.
First floor with the bottom floor.
Where are you gonna put everybody? There's like,
2 other people
there's 5 people.
downstairs on it.
Can't quite do that. Is there that much room downstairs? Those rooms are smaller than first floor offices.
Yeah, I mean, you have to leave Michelle upstairs no matter what, or whoever you sit in that spot would be the courthouse information person, so they wouldn't get much work done.
So, we can't put election stuff all in one spot. You're saying we can't put all the election stuff in one location, on
I,
office?
maybe running back and forth all the time on election stuff. We have another room, I can move it to that we can, if we have, we can unless we have a special, we never know when we have a special.
I just didn't see that much problem with her rock, I can't think he'd be bothered that much, he's only working one job. It's gonna cause a little havoc there until we get something better figured out.
Well, even if you just have Kyle in there, you still can't get to your depth with just Kyle.
I can get through.
Huh.
He has a point, I mean, work safety, I mean, as far as getting stuff around, can we at least get some of the stuff cleaned up? I mean, you had the one, can you put stuff somewhere where at least you have, with the one wall?
Is
That
it all
south
one?
wall, the south wall, there's stuff on the east wall as well.
Coats, it looks like coats.
Yeah, like blue toes.
They're all
Well,
gone.
tilts are going there, there's just a desk and shredder, so you wanna move the shredder into your office, or you wanna do
I
it?
don't have any room for the shredder.
So put it downstairs in the hallway with the postage machine.
Where's the shredder? Is this the shredder?
On the east wall, there's a vault door, shredder, Holly has a desk there.
Could you put
Server
the
rack.
shredder and the postage machine behind that glassed in part?
That's
What else in there?
Yeah, it's in there.
Glass in part down.
On the north side of the.
I mean, on the main floor.
Yes.
In the shelf, no, there's no room in there. It's full. She has a small walkway in front of her.
What's that office in there behind her? That's
That's
Jim's.
Jim's office.
Any room in there? Postage machine.
Yeah.
I think that's the shoulder right there.
That would be,
And the stuff's in the vaults downstairs, we gotta keep that, or is there some?
We go through ours every 5 years to get rid of certain stuff that, all my election, I mean, the certain election stuff I have to keep permanent.
I've got some picture of it in the vault.
Oh, yeah, that's the courts. Yeah, I think it's a big.
If you got rid of that roll around thing, could you put a desk in there? In the vault?
Yeah, you have to be able to use that roll around ladder to get up to the record. For when
That
you
takes up half the room.
Yeah.
this,
Postage feature.
that's supposed to.
Sounds like we need to put a lean to on the courthouse.
Historical for.
Every farm's got a lean to.
What do you consider the obstruction for coming? What is this, what's this here?
Empty boxes.
This is-
Mm-hmm.
So this is how, if it happens to move, you would have to get back to this.
So when it was election time, you couldn't get to it then. Impossible. And really with the servers where they're at, it's like that one. If someone walked by here and shred the stuff that they're into that there. Probably more than that, you probably looking close to $100,000. Get the years track.
Too deep, the chances of something like that.
But right now, the whole courthouse lots in there. You know what I'm saying? Leave it as a break room.
Well,
I don't know the solution, but it sounds like everybody's got their place and it's full of stuff.
Yeah, storage space and office space has been a concern for a while, and there were some recommendations made about trying to get community corrections back down off of the very top floor, and, court services and getting community corrections back into the courthouse. And maybe moving some of the facilities that are inside the courthouse down, out. That's a pretty broad discussion to bring up and try to answer something off the cuff. And, maybe some long-term planning that needs to go into your space needs and storage needs. And at least coming up with policies about storage of materials. And I know the courts are required, for example, to keep hard copies of all of their things. They scan everything, but they're required by statute to keep hard copies of all of those items. And I don't know that the county has any real policy on what we scan and what we keep hard copies of. For example, the Register of Deeds office is doing both. They're scanning and using the scans primarily, but then they also have hard copies.
They probably have to keep their, don't they?
They do not. They do scan them.
Microfilm.
Well, they keep them on. There are many counties that do not keep deeds any longer.
Really?
The deed comes in, it gets scanned, and goes back. Douglas County does not, for example. Shawnee County does not.
Really?
Of course, part of these offices is scanning backwards, so they have to keep them until they got scanned in. So everything from now, present, scanned in, but they scan it backwards in time to get as much on it.
Well, even if the policy just goes from now forward, we need to quit digging that hole and making the problem worse for the future, so.
Good idea.
Okay, my other reason I'm here is for the joint communication. We had decided to finalize that resolution.
I think we're gonna have to make sure Pat, make sure we get the wording and stuff, and I think it needs to go to the city. I think you've made the change. Have you written up anything? I mean, this is what you came, you,
This is what we all,
I mean, you with your X's and stuff.
I talked with Trey about it last week, we talked in a little bit of detail, and, there were a couple of details that I think they weren't ready to make that commitment on, so, I'll talk to him again this week, and maybe we can come up with one. I think it's important for both the city and the county that the budget is approved, and that both the city and the county have some input into it, so that when it comes time for funding, there's agreement that this is the amount that needs to be funded, so that we're not really pulling the bag there. For example, if they thought it only needs half of the money that we think it needs, that they might say we're going to fund it only to a level we think it needs to be funded. So we need to get buy-in from both the city and county on the funding. And that was the point of our discussion.
the funding's not what we're waiting on. Are you, or do you guys?
Yes, you are, because the resolution talks about the approval of the budget. So, yes, you don't need to have a bylaw. Well, you can say it's just a minor thing, but it is, the devil sometimes is in the details.
Correct. That's not what the joint communications board is asking right now. They're asking if you're gonna have another member to the board, so we can start proceeding with.
Yeah, but that's part of the resolution.
With our communications and.
And that's part of the broader discussion.
Okay, if you're gonna have another person to the board or not.
Is that holding the board as far as like meeting?
Yeah. Because none of them are willing to meet until you, this point is to go ahead and meet and work on your communications issue that we have. And then adding somebody later on and have to go back and go through everything again. So really what the board wants is for you to say if you're gonna add Trey to the board or not, and then we can start moving forward. I mean, yes, that other is important, I'm not saying it's not, but we wanna start proceeding with our communications problem that we have to get that fixed, but we can't do that until we add that person or not.
I feel your pain.
So I had them call me all, so I often want to know if there was a decision made yet. And he keeps saying, no, not yet.
Well, it isn't as simple as you all have to make a decision, there has to be agreement. So, as I said, I'll talk to him this week.
Or,
Possibly, I think he's gonna,
I said I will talk with Trey again this week.
so we can, I mean, until we get that agreement in place, I mean. When was the board originally scheduled for meeting?
We haven't met since we brought that here, because they didn't wanna meet until that was over 1 hour. I mean, they don't wanna waste their time, but getting together and coming up with solutions and then going back to the drawing board. But if you don't have buy-in from the get-go, then,
do you think, I think you had, shall meet on a monthly basis, is that necessary? Do you think you need to be a monthly?
if the board is going to be overrides, could there not be a director per se? And there-
Right.
Yes, if you end up hiring another outside director, then the board would be sufficient.
Well, I mean, that was one of your additions, so I mean, I think the wording there needs some flexibility, because otherwise, when you put that into a resolution, it becomes kind of a binding deal, so we need to have a little bit of legal.
It wouldn't hurt to force the joint communications board together, to get together publicly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just, it would make more communications between different entities.
See what you come up with, and if we can have something by Wednesday, otherwise we'll have to do it on Monday. I've got most of your,
I am going to be gone on Monday to Kansas Municipal Judges Association Conference.
Let's see if we can get, Woodman an answer by Wednesday. That'd be an ideal situation. There's been enough time to probably stew on this and try to get some
Yeah.
direction. I mean, this isn't like we just sprung on in the last 2 weeks. This has been.
They have a meeting today, I think.
yeah, otherwise you're gonna change it, and it seems to be pretty, there's like a couple little minor things that I would question or.
And any of that's changeable, we were just,
Right, and, well, one of them is whether we need to make it too specific as not to.
and when is the Effingham site, is that Monday?
That's the 29th. You mean on the, for the fire district
Yeah.
hearing, that's the 29th.
Do you guys have anything that you need or wants, questions?
Just something you can look at and present to, at the ambulance station, somebody was a little concerned when the air, they had air conditioning, whether we needed to put some protection around it, to come out and work it.
Correct, we talked about either, going to, down to Topeka to place an asphalt valve that has, like parking lot bumpers. I question if that's enough.
Well, I think you ought to have a steel post.
I was seeing that for the steel, so I was thinking maybe at a gas station or something like that around, yeah. Yeah, that's already been a topic of discussion from day one.
Well, this is just a citizen out there, just thought we ought to look at it because of where the people park and stuff, where it's kind of subject to human error.
It really is. That and the gas meter, which are right next to each other. And we put the gas meter and the air conditioner right next to each other, thinking we would do that, but it got put in December, and we figured we'd wait till it thawed
4-inch, 4-inch tubing, drill a hole, shovel with concrete, and you got,
All day experts, but yeah.
what's that?
All day experts, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially with the gas meter right there. After it starts raining, we'll see if we have to, remember how that we thought there might be a roof leak. It hasn't rained enough yet to make any marks on the ceiling, so we may or may not have to, but still not doing this year.
Was we gonna schedule an open house, kind of show it all? We're out there.
I emailed Brett this morning, and I just told him to be in touch with Wes, and sometime in May, I think.
Supposed to get the new truck, the other truck on Wednesday of this week, I mean, that's what we've been waiting on, just to get that truck back before we have our open house. We've talked about it several times, we've got several women groups connecting him, so that they would gladly make all the functions that he needs and bring that back, and make a big.
I thought maybe, you know, with the daylight instead of an early evening, we had like a 6 or so people coming off work if they wanted to come, so.
Something like 5, but like ones that people live here, warms up a little bit, like 5 to 8, something like that, where everybody can sort of see it. That's been on our topic of discussion also. The Wednesday when Shark's supposed to be here, the second Shark.
Is the other one still acting out the window?
I heard that there was, when they let it idle, it turned the light on the dash. So, that's warranty.
It's like.
That's a warranty
Yes,
issue,
warranty.
so I.
But I know Kirk had told me they still were, occasionally go start with the start.
Oh, Effingham too, yeah, no, I showed them which relay it was, yeah, you gotta pull a certain relay out every 3 weeks and pop it back in. But I'm gonna just order one of these relays, it would be like $50, and then you wouldn't have that problem, the fuel relay,
Mm.
they keep ticking, so, yeah, I believe they ordered 2, so, good enough. And then they're going to start getting their, I believe they're going to start getting their oil changed at Road and Bridge. I took them that up this morning. Anything else? All right. You all want to do that? Sorry.
So, over the time, we have a couple of individuals with, there's something, I know you were here first, sir, I don't know your name or.
Dean Christie.
Dean Christie?
Yeah, I was just curious, I know we beat this topic in the ground last meeting, but I was just curious if anything has come to light since the last meeting on the timber ground assessment. I mean, I knew State Representative asked the gentleman up here, I don't remember his name, maybe look into, get some information, and we got to meet with Mr. Lampy today.
Okay.
So I was just curious if anything had came to light since the last meeting, on it.
Yeah, not necessarily a whole lot, there's been some, letters of concern written by our representative, Jerry Henry.
Mhm.
We're looking at possibly drafting up a letter of concern as well, on that. I do know that the appraiser, I believe there's a few other appraisers, state PVD, I think Department of Revenue have a conference call, at some point this week, to discuss, the future of that proposal. So, as far as I know, I mean, I think that's where they're at. I would assume here by the end of the week, we'd probably start seeing possibly some action work is what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I think there's some things happening. I talked to one of the other concerned people here, and he's been in touch with several, like the forestry, and there's a lot of agencies that are concerned because they're being affected. I mean, it's, you know, whether it be conservation, wildlife and stuff, it could have a drastic, it could have some effect on their programs and stuff. So I think as we get more people involved, and particularly if you have some other state agencies involved, I think we'll come near getting some action or, you know, some answers. They may not be the answers that we want, you know. anyway, the ball is rolling, because he technically has till about May the 10th, or 15th or so, actually, according to the appeal process. So, and we do, Paulie, did you get that put on the web? The
I'm
appeals?
working on it.
Okay. There will be eventually the appeal process, how you go about it on the website, so we need to make sure everybody's aware. If you're doing your appeal day, that part's you.
Yeah, and that was my other question, and you've already answered it, that I just wondered collectively as committee members, if you guys had put a plan of action together, if you plan to send something out also. But
We can write a letter of our concern, we can't tell the Fraser directly what to do.
No, that was,
Yeah.
I mean, that came out
Yeah.
last meeting, you
Yeah.
appoint him, but you don't really have a jurisdiction over him, I understand that.
Yeah, I think
But
that's-
as elected officials, I think maybe you strongly recommend something
Yes.
that hopefully you would
And that's our,
listen to.
yeah, that's our intent, is to make sure that they take a good look at this and make sure that there's a statewide implementation, that's some uniformity to it rather than the way it's been done right now.
Yeah, I mean, the repercussions can be huge. I mean, like I said, the forestry, the Missouri River Valley, KDH, KDWP, I mean, you'd think they'd all have some very big concerns on this issue.
Yeah, I agree, I think it's something that all of them are taking a pretty good look at from what we've heard, so hopefully here by the end of the week, we start possibly seeing some action coming about. So
Okay,
hopefully-
like I said, we had Mr. Langbeaver, so I was killing a little time, but I also wanted to see if there was anything new on that subject, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, actually, Jerry's, he got us a copy of it, but he sent it out to the governor and about, looks like about 8 or 9 other people within the state offices, so.
Okay.
Copy
Well,
of that.
at least they're looking at it, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, I think it'll get their attention, like I said, what their reaction's gonna be, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, well, but then, big concern, I would think through the state offices and that would be, the county to the north of us has huge timbers, and I'm sure that they're just sitting back waiting to see what Addison County's gonna do before they jump.
I don't think any of us are totally clear. I mean, there are 3 or 4 other counties that are starting to implement it, but when they implement it like it was done here, we don't know.
Yeah.
I think those are some other answers that we need to hear and see too, because if there's inconsistency in the other counties, then we're right back to what really Jerry brought up, the point in his letter is there's no uniformity to it.
Right.
And I think that's the whole key to fair taxing is not fair. I mean, in a sense, in a way, but this doesn't appear to be uniform and fair either, so, I mean, by long shots.
No, because, I mean, if somebody, say they're a few acres from being 50% timberland, I gotta think the bulldozer's gonna start firing up, you know what I mean? We're gonna start clearing off timber.
I think several of us, that's what's puzzling in our mind, how that comes into play.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me, but obviously it didn't to a lot of people, so,
Yeah.
okay, that's all I had.
You?
Okay, sir, thank you. Arthur Johnson, 1725 Brooks Road, that rings a bell, doesn't it?
It does.
In fact, 3 years ago, Don Ball and I got together and tried to convince the commission to do some chip and seal on the first 3 or 4 tenths of a mile there on Brooks Road. And there was some possibility, but we didn't have all the neighbors behind us. Now there's been some additional houses built there on that first section of Brooks, and they're all interested in trying to move ahead with some chip and seal. In front of our house, we've been using some of that spray. It works. But we're,
That's
we're,
control.
we're about 7 of the neighbors right now are ready to see what can be done about some kind of cooperative effort. Interestingly, as you can appreciate, the houses that are fairly new, our own included, now have those graduated increases in taxes. So you're getting more from us than you did 5, 6, 7 years ago. So there's more resource coming from that section of Brooks Road. Secondly, we understand from some previous minutes of the commission that the price of oil for your chip and seal is somewhat down. How much down? I guess that varies by day to day.
I think it was down about 40 to 50%, 40 to 50 cents a gallon.
On this property, as I recall, Mr. Thornton was not in favor. And he owned a lot of footage, sort of frontage, I guess, along the road. Has that changed?
No, that hasn't changed, and the interesting thing that has changed is that the 7 neighbors now, excluding maybe 1 or 2 others, are ready to take on a reasonable responsibility ourselves. Some of the neighbors that opt out get the benefit. But that's important enough for us to make that a chip and seal or a paved road somehow. So I raised that question, is it possible somewhere in the budget for this year, next year, or something like that, to take a look at that first, maybe 4/10 of a mile or so?
I can't remember on the road, is that township, or is that county?
In the township, right?
It's township road.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they're wanting though is for you to take over
The town.
the maintenance of it.
The maintenance.
Take it and take over the maintenance. And then in perpetuity, we would have the obligation to keep it paid. I shouldn't say in perpetuity, for the foreseeable future.
Is that
That'd be the
Pleasant, or is
expectation.
that Walnut Township?
I would think it's Walnut. Is it not Pleasant?
It's pretty close, it's right in,
Not Pleasant, yes. Yeah. But somebody's putting a fair amount of money into just maintaining it, because the scraper comes down the road every 4 to 6 weeks, raises stuff.
okay.
Doesn't help us.
Have any of you spoken with any of the township trustees about this, or is this?
No.
No, okay, this is the first.
A little while ago, Don and I sort of compared notes and said, maybe it's time to come back to this group. If you tell us what the right procedure is.
I think Matt did before, when he gave an estimate on what it would cost to do it, and they have no paved roads. The township has no paved roads at all, so they don't have the capacity to pave one, or they don't have the equipment to pave, for example, so. But we certainly could discuss it with him again. And you could do a benefit district, and I think you probably could do a benefit district that excluded, one side of the road, essentially. If you wanted to do that.
Personally, I think we'd just like to keep domestic tranquility and do.
Well, the whole road would be paved, I wouldn't mean that.
I think he's inquiring if
The
the county
district.
would take over the township road, or what would be the procedures for that? Because we probably need something from the township trustees, and we probably need a good place
Right.
for that.
I think, we looked this up before, I think actually you could just declare the road as a county road. So by feel, I think you can do it if you're willing to do it.
I didn't realize it was that comfortable process.
Yeah. Yeah, while we researched it with regard to the road out to Warnock.
Mr. Henderson may remember that we did come up with some sort of tentative agreement where the neighbors were going to put in a sizable amount of cash to help cover the expenses, and the county, I think at that point, was going to put the waiver in, just to get it down.
May 10.
I remember some discussions about that, I really don't remember all the specifics, but.
I appreciate having a few moments of your time, and if there's something that can be done, there'll be some neighbors there right along First Part of Brooks that will greatly appreciate it. And as I said earlier, there's more tax base coming, you've got additional houses, and the percentage of payment for these newer houses is going up each year.
Good point.
Yeah. I think it'd be worth like mean, I think we got some other things, someday we just need to set aside and go look at some of these, you know. So when we can visually see, you can appreciate it a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah.
So you're wanting to go around to where the road takes off and goes west?
It's not even that far.
Not that far?
No, just before, the bridge, that first bridge, and at the end of the last house before the road that's going off to the east. So I think it's about 4/10 of a mile, maybe a little bit.
That sounds all right. It's been a while since we discussed. For some reason, it seems about right. I can't remember offhand, Pat might have. I can't remember, it seems about right, but I can't remember.
Well, I think it's about 10 now, and we've got 7 of us, having had a meeting recently on that association on our side of the road. The subject did come up about coming back to the commission here, requesting whatever cooperation we could have. And we're ready to put some funds into it ourselves.
That makes it in your favor. I mean, if we'd have several people that want it.
If you wish, would it be appropriate to get some signatures or documents along that line? Or is it just?
Probably not, I think we believe you, I think. That's the consensus of all 7 of the,
The 7 that are ready to go with, yes.
well, everybody that's south of the road.
South or after the bend, I call it the east.
The east, okay. Okay.
Mr. Thornton, man, you feel?
No, he's,
He's still there.
He commutes to Columbia, Missouri, has an apartment there. He comes back on weekends, his wife is still here.
How about they separate?
I don't know that. Okay, well, I see him occasionally on weekends here.
they put a lot of skin in their game because they built that house themselves. So they were looking to do, as I understand it, moving off to Columbia. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Zoning request from executive session to discuss the auditor's notes. I'm thinking it is, but all pertaining to that, letter to the governing body and management, so I'm assuming it is.
Before, yeah. Paul, do you need?
20 minutes.
I don't know. Pat can join us, obviously, when we get back in, or
Okay.
commission, okay. So, let's say 20 minutes.
What's your statute?
It's 75-4319 B4.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. So we will come out at, 10 till, so, 3:50, is that right? Yes.
We rebated half of it for the businesses and all these other refunds, which they weren't quite as bad as we thought they were, so.
They weren't. And we're also saving a lot of money at our transfer station
Start to get,
from our invoices alone.
but we just got a $40,000 bill that we didn't have figured in the budget this year. If we have to pay that. Well, that insurance.
On the insurance.
Is that we pay the 1 year, or we pay 3 years up front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matt was doing check, yeah, it's new to Matt, I mean, it's new to all of us too, as far as that.
Well,
Great.
you ready, huh? Okay, great.
If you're ready.
We're ready. Third one of these today. I'm Keith Rickard, the director of the Guidance Center. This is Jared Dobbins, the finance director. Guidance Center. We're talking for you today. We've met Keith Rickard. Well, at least once a year, I like to appear before this commission and not ask for anything. And so this is that time of year. I'm not going to do that. What I brought for you today is a review of our 2012 annual report. I'll walk through it with you here in just a second, but just by way of introduction for the benefit maybe of this review and of the community mental health center system in Kansas. And we're one of 27 mental health centers in Kansas. We're part of the safety net system. We provide service regardless of ability to pay. And the creation of community mental health centers is really authorized under Kansas statutes that give counties the authority to create and or fund a community mental health center. You can do that by creating it as a department of the county, or you can contract for those services, which you've elected to do for the last 20 plus years. So the Guidance Center is your designated community mental health center licensed by the state of Kansas as a mental health and substance abuse provider. We don't have to provide substance abuse services, but we do, and we're licensed by the state to do both. So that's just an overview. We do have 4 governing board members because we're a 501c3 private not-for-profit. There are 4 members representing Atchison County on our board. If you read this from left to right, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a growth chart, number of clients that we have seen growing, ever growing, over the last 10 years. From 2003, when we were seeing about 2,800 clients a year, to 2012, when we saw almost 5,000 clients. Person just entered the room is Stevie Durkee. Stevie's a longtime Atchison resident and just promoted to be the clinic administrator for the offices here.
Thank you.
So, thanks, you found this. So anyway, the story that I'm telling is that we see really an exponential growth, really the number of clients that we see coming to us. And the chart below it shows our income and expense for the year, which you'll see a revenue reduction of $400,000 from 2011 to 2012. But at the same time, we lived within those means and balanced our budget and came out with a slight surplus. And it's a very slight surplus. It's a close margin at $65,000 on a $9 million budget, but nonetheless, we worked very hard at being responsible, accountable, fiscally responsible with the monies that are allocated to us. The reduction came primarily, if not exclusively, from Medicaid reductions in available funds. We were given a service limit or a maximum amount that we could bill to. And we billed to that limit, but we saw less than what we saw in the previous year. So this is the first page on the left says we saw more clients and we did it on less money, more for less, is what is really the mantra of this report. If you look at the center columns there, in the very bottom says number of clients by payment source, you'll see kind of an equal distribution between the number of clients who have Medicaid and the number of clients who have no insurance to pay for their care at all. So 1,877 Medicaid clients versus 1,791 uninsured clients. And the growth in clients that we're seeing, unfortunately, are uninsured people. So providing service regardless of ability to pay becomes harder and harder, and that is the population of people that is growing. And so we started asking ourselves, why is that the case? Why are more people seeking service, and why are more of them uninsured? And you'll see a real uptick from 2008, which was about when the economy saw a serious reduction. We saw state grant reductions at that time as well. But just the economy and changes in our communities, along with the destigmatization of mental health, those seeking services no longer are as embarrassed or afraid to ask for that service. And we also like to think it's because we provide quality service that's well known, so people are seeking it out and asking for it. The top box there showing clients by age shows pretty much equal distribution of clients in all age ranges except those under 5 and over 65. Those are underrepresented groups, but a few years ago we would see any children under 5 years of age. But now we have group-based programs for both age groups. Well, not for seniors, but for early childhood. But anyway, the crosswalk of the community is coming to see us is also reflected by the clients by race. Those demographics match our community demographics, so there's nothing unusual about those statistics there either. Clients by diagnosis is just a way, it gives you a snapshot of the kinds of problems that we see people bringing to us. Affective disorders refers to all diagnoses in a class classified basically as depression. That's, I guess, the base category. Followed by ADHD and disruptive behaviors, and those are primarily children and adolescents. Substance abuse-related services, schizophrenia, anxiety, you can see how they round out the numbers there. If at any time you want to stop me, just feel free to stop me. One of the other things that mental health centers, and your mental health center is charged with doing, because we have resources to provide service in the community, the state asks us to screen every patient prior to admission to a state hospital, and every Medicaid patient prior to admission to any hospital, whether it's state or private. And the reason being, again, that if we can find diversionary resources that are less expensive to provide in the community, then we can save state taxpayers the monies that are expended in those other facilities, other institutions. And we diverted 189 of the 526 that we screened for hospitalization, which is a pretty good diversion rate in our estimation. And the box right next to it shows what the amount of money we saved Kansas State taxpayers by diverting those patients and keeping them in our local community. Again, the bottom right-hand corner just shows the distribution of Atchison, Jefferson, Leavenworth, and out-of-county clients. And you'll see growth in each area, 8.3% in Atchison, 7.6% Leavenworth, followed by Jefferson County. The out-of-county clients, you might think, well, since the county contributes money, why are you seeing out-of-county clients? And the only time we'll see an out-of-county client is for a service that they pay 100% a full fee for. And in some cases, they live out of county, but they've been tried and caught for some legal offense here in your county, or this county. And so they'll be going through diversionary programming and counseling because of that. So they're either seeking services here because they have insurance or because they're mandated to come and somebody else is paying the bill. There's no subsidy for those out-of-county clients at all. On the back side of this is my narrative, which basically speaks in summary to what we read here, is that we did more with less, but we're really at the brink of collapse if we continue to try to do that. We're at the stage where we either have to begin restricting access to care for some populations of people and trying to decide who those are, who will get care. It's a very, very, very difficult question for us to try to answer. But we either need additional resources or we need a reduction in expectation. And so we're going to start talking with the state about what we can restrict or eliminate in order to balance the budget. We just can't continue on that kind of a client growth plane of service growth without additional revenues. But I continue to have a very robust staff of committed professionals at the Guidance Center. I have a full-time medical director who's board certified both in adult and child psychiatry. He's in Atchison on a weekly basis. He visits all 3 offices. and he's supported by 3 nurse practitioners who are physician extenders, who also prescribe medication and monitor the mental medical health of our client base. But again, we have a full range of services here in Atchison. We're located in the old Burger Building, right there, still on Main Street. We leased the middle floor of that facility from Dennis Hine. We have a 10-year lease that started 2 years ago, so we have 8 years left of that lease, and enjoying that property there. We do share it with the UC students, and that's been better this year than previous year. There's older students there this year that are a little bit more settled and less likely to party and leave broken bottles, et cetera, around the facility, but that's going fairly well. On the backside, and you'll see that because we're a 501c3, every gift to the Guyton Center is tax deductible. And so it's a pretty extensive list of individuals and businesses that donated to us in 2012, and we're grateful to them as well. We're not just supported by insurance revenue and tax revenue, but also by donors who value our work and see the benefit of what we're doing. And so every year we hold an annual fund drive of some sort. This last year we had our first golf tournament where we played 75 holes of golf in a day. We found those who pledged to us who played so many dollars or cents per hole. And so we started at dawn and ended at dark, and Jerry and I finished 75 holes of golf in a day. So it was a fun day, a very fun day.
What was your score?
Oh, we didn't Jerry was far.
The one day I averaged, and I wound up with like an 81, which is outstanding for me. It was worth that just to wind up with a decent score.
By the end of the day, you either drew the swing or you said every cuss word that was said.
Keith, what is going to be the effect, if you know, of the Affordable Care Act on community health centers?
Well, if the state of Kansas would participate in the Affordable Care Act and the tenants that are available to it now by expanding Medicaid eligibility, we could see a significant number of our clients that are presently uninsured qualify for Medicaid benefits, and therefore our current budget dilemma would be arrested for a period of time. But it looks like our legislature is leaning towards no participation in expansion of Medicaid. And that would start in 2014. In terms of the insurance eligibility for people above 130% subsidies that they receive, some of those clients will now have insurance to pay for their care. However, there is a pretty huge gap between Medicaid eligibility and eligibility under the Affordable Care Act to participate in health insurance exchange. The federal poverty guideline is set at a certain level, and states then can set their Medicaid eligibility anywhere at that level or below that level. The state of Kansas is about 38% of the federal poverty guideline. So we've got a long way to grow just to get to the current eligibility status for qualifying for Medicaid in Kansas. If we just did that, we just went to the current federal guideline, a number of our clients would be eligible for Medicaid.
Are you saying if the poverty level is, let's just say, $100, if you make 39, you're not eligible for Medicaid in Kansas?
Right.
And 38 below, it's, I did not know that.
And we're like in the top, well, of the 50 states, we're in the top of the lowest 10 of those 50 states in terms of Medicaid eligibility. It goes everywhere from about 20-some% all the way to 100% of the federal poverty guideline some states have chosen.
I know many medical providers lament Medicaid funding because they see it as a losing proposition financially. Is that the case with you or not?
Well, Medicaid has floated this boat for the last 13 years. And in 2000, the state of Kansas said, let's stop using our grant money to fund services. Let's just put our grant money into Medicaid match. and raise the rates for certain services, and so the federal government pays more of their share of services. Well, you know, we just started Medicaid reform now, so now that they're managing Medicaid, there's a movement the other direction. So that's why, again, we're in crisis, is because we'll see a reduction in the Medicaid monies we receive now as services are restricted by these 3 MCOs, even hired by the state of Kansas. So we're kind of on a crisis collision course with healthcare reform and the current reforms that are already in place. We just can't, we just don't see the ability to see the numbers of clients with the volume of service. But in answer, specific answer to your question, some services and rates are fully compensated and excessively compensated by Medicaid, and some are under compensated. For example, my medical services cost over $200 an hour to deliver, and our average collected hour is less than $100. So the monies we make in this Medicaid service subsidizes other services in other parts of our service system. But it's not a logically funded system. Everybody in Kansas acknowledges it isn't logical. It isn't like, you have insurance, here's the price, we agree the price, we deliver the care, everybody's happy. We have a lot of people come, I have nothing to pay, but here's the price. And so if you were, you know, selling widgets, how many could you give away for everyone that you sold before you'd be out of business? And that's kind of what the situation that we're in. We're giving away, going to be giving away more than we're taking in, and that has to stop. But fully implemented, healthcare reform would mean great things for the provision of mental health services. More people Medicaid eligible, more people with insurance. Perhaps we can see a reduction in what we would need from counties if everyone had the ability to pay for their care. So.
What are we seeing like, as far as like trends? I'm just looking at stuff like clients by age, by county. I mean, are we seeing trends still trend up?
Everything's trending up. Yes. The number of clients, the growth in clients. I'm just shocked myself when I see that we used to see 2,800, now it's at 5,000 clients a year. We haven't seen, you know, any increase in grant funding in that time. The county funding has been pretty much stable for the last 20 years as well. So it's all been Medicaid and insurance industry that has helped to support your local community mental health center. And again, we're mandated to provide service regardless of ability to pay, but we're at the place where we have to say, you know, tell us what not to do because we're going to go doing this in the future.
It's interesting to note that you're over 50% of your clients by age are under the age of 30.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical nationwide. You know, seniors still receive most of their behavioral health care from their primary care physician. They don't go in when they're depressed, but they go in with all kinds of ailments, and their primary care physician really get benefits from some antidepressant medications. And so that's really what the research shows, is that those 65 and over are still looking for their primary care docs to provide that care rather than community mental health. But we are seeing more children and starting earlier with them. And we have an early childhood program here in Atchison. I invite you to come take a look at it someday. We've got 12 to 15 kids in this program every morning for about 4 hours that don't make it in Head Start, that don't make it in preschool because of their behaviors. And we have staff who are trained in behavioral interventions and training, and we try to help prepare them for school in those programs. So it's a pretty, really valuable program for families, and especially for these young kids that really need this service. We do that as kind of a prevention
I
service.
think we've seen that. I don't think I know Bill. Did you go to the tour? Did you go to the tour now? We should probably schedule it.
Yeah.
I know I've been to it. I think I remember the area that you're talking about. There was something.
It's a big wide open space, and this looks like a preschool room.
Stevie was sleeping somewhere. No, I
No.
wasn't. He was working hard.
You know, the other mental health topic that's on everybody's mind now are these tragic things that happen in Newtown and other places. You know, what are we doing to try to stem the tide of these kinds of crises? We don't really know the personality profile of these shooters, except that some are seriously mentally ill, and some have antisocial tendencies. And many of them have been treated by the mental health system, but somehow have been lost. And this handout that I gave you is on mental health first aid. It says mental first aid gains traction with counties. And, the training on CPR started how many years ago? I think I was a kid when the first CPR training began to help people that, help us all know what to do when someone collapsed and their heart stopped beating, so that we could be first responders. And so now there is a similar mental health first aid curriculum that's being utilized nationwide. And we have this training service available at the Guidance Center as well. We have a certified trainer who will work with law enforcement, schools, county staff, any employer to help understand, identify early signs of mental health problems and intervene in ways that are helpful and to get people connected to service early if they recognize those problems. And we can't say that training will eliminate all risk or tragedies, but at the same time can be very influential and helpful in communities better understanding mental illness to further reduce the stigma of getting help. There's research from SAMHSA and other agencies that show the cost of untreated mental health problems is far greater than what it would cost to fully fund mental health services. But that's still a hard sell. It's still hard for decision makers like yourselves to say we want to invest this money to prevent something from happening. Well, how do we know if it helps? It's harder to measure, but nonetheless, really. So I provide that to you as well. This is an added service, education service. We don't just provide treatment, but also community education, community support in those ways as well.
So you offer this training?
Yes.
Have we been through it?
Not yet. Joe Thorne he's our trainer. He's our emergency services director. He is office out of Leavenworth, and he's scheduling these throughout the year. I think he's done 3 or 4 of them now. So he's fully prepared to start doing this. So if the county's interested in having a training class, we'd be happy to talk to you about doing that.
Makes sense. I mean, I don't think I've seen this center out there.
Yeah. I just came back from a national conference, National Council of Behavioral Health Providers, with like 4,000 providers there, learning what's the latest and greatest in this. Community curriculum training is really being promoted nationwide and supported by the Obama administration and others. As really best practices for communities in helping to early identification and referral for treatment services that people need. Now, I was asked at the last commission meeting, or the first commission meeting we went to this morning, so if you're treating somebody and you know that they have weapons and you know that they're not thinking clearly, what do you do about that? And of course, all of our clinicians have a duty to warn, and we know that there is an imminent threat of action that supersedes any kind of confidentiality guidelines that we also live by very closely. But we work closely with law enforcement on emergency service claims and others to identify people that do put communities at risk. So we have full-time, emergency services staff. If anybody knows of anybody in the community that we're worried about or concerned about, or we won't go to their home if we know they have a lot of weapons, or we won't go by ourselves. But if we can find ways to get them to the office to make an assessment of their status, we do that as well.
Do you work a lot with community corrections at all, or by some of your corrections?
Yes, we work in conjunction with court services and community corrections. Both are very, very good to work with. We just kind of take that approach that it's best to have everybody on the same page and relaying information that we feel is beneficial to effectively treat the client and help them in areas that they might need it. So, yeah.
They're also on the multidisciplinary team, dealing with juvenile courts, that they're represented on it. Community corrections is, and I am.
I'm on the JCAB board, the Juvenile Corrections Advisory.
You're on the JCAB.
I haven't been to a meeting I haven't missed the last meeting with the Department of Grant Funding, but I'm on that for 15 years. mandated by law to be on that committee, so. I or my designee, and I was chosen to be my own designee to that committee.
I'm just thinking mental health first aid classes would probably be very beneficial probably to those groups.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The next meeting is June the sixth.
Oh, for JCAT? Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Bolton on that, yeah, as well.
Great. Well, hopefully, pretty painless presentation for you this morning, and this is just, 5 minutes, it's just informational, and, to let you know that we appreciate the support that Atchison County provides for us, financially and morally, and the cooperation we get from the courts and others. I've known Pat for a very long time, it's been lots of meetings.
We're sorry. We apologize.
We're sorry. Anyway, we know you're about to start your budget process for the new year, and of course, we'll be in line, again, with the proposal for next year, on 14. And just let us know what that looks like, Paul, and we'll give you what you need.
Didn't you mention at an earlier meeting you was here, that this year you would be about the same, but next year you would see a raise, what you're gonna ask from us?
Yeah, I think we're going to be coming to every county with a proposal for increased, help from the counties, and just, again, I don't wanna tell you what you already know, but you do have, statute authority to levy mills just for mental health. You don't have to take it out of your general fund budget. Levy it just for that, not just for operations, but also for facilities. We won't be coming with a facilities recommendation, this year, but, you can levy mill, portions of mill, and I think there's a cap on that, but you can levy just for mental health services, in your community. The city does give us a small amount of liquor tax money for our substance abuse program, about $15,000. That's increased over the last couple of years because we've become the only applicant, or the only approved applicant for that funding. So that's a little cooperation with the city, county as well.
Keith, maybe this is better asked outside of here, but is Leavenworth County participating?
Yes, they are. And they have for 15, still 15, until 1994, they were, 1993, they were contributing, and then we got a little dispute over land and cash that the board had accumulated, so they cut us off for a couple of years, but they restarted that again up to about 1997, so they've been contributing. But they contribute the same level that they were contributing when I came in 1990. So, we've been able to give you, I guess, a little other perspective. When I came in 1990, we had a staff of about 40 and a budget of $1.3 million, and we were seeing about 1,200 clients a year. So you've seen the kind of growth that we've been able to establish, and yet the county compensation has remained real constant for all 3 counties through that time. So, but we're at that place now where we need help, and we can't keep compensating. Of course, if healthcare reform kicked in, if Kansas participated, I wouldn't be coming to you with a request for more money next year, probably. But they are contributing and supportive, and there's a new commissioner this year I've not gotten acquainted with yet, but Bill, and Clyde Rivers been there for a long time. He's a supporter.
Good.
I don't want to bore you or take up too much more time, but I appreciate the opportunity to come share with you.
Thank you for coming.
You guys do great work, and what I see with from you through the court systems is good stuff.
Right. Well, thanks, Steve, he's on the front line. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in. You want us to get a hold of you or Steve, if we did want to take a tour? So, I know I've been on it, but I'd like to go on it, I mean,
Yeah, probably coordinate it with Steve.
Okay.
And I'll come up,
Okay.
and do that, because he kind of knows what the city looks like.
I'm gonna make sure we send the sets our day, we'll have fish meeting.
yeah, that's what I was.
Do some tours.
Yeah.
Just make a day.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Weather's way nicer now, so.
I don't even know how you come in that. You come in
Did you come through Dale, or did you come through the courthouse?
Through the courthouse.
Then you want to go out this way? Okay.
I think you.
Yeah, Steve and,
Yeah, I know some of the workers, but.
that area down, south of Cliffs, that's where it's going. Yeah, Steven and Sue's his mom. His sister graduated with my sister in high school.
Pat, you haven't heard, I found Dennis's email address, I just emailed Dennis today just to see whether they had anything to report to us about the Brahma, the CD potential, so,
Since the lawsuit's over?
well, I don't know when it's totally over, but I thought maybe, I just mentioned in there that I knew that the attorney that represented that Luke's still hiring, because I just said if he wants to contact, that'd be fine, so I just wanted to get an update on that, so.
Did they give you a response?
Well, I just sent it right before noon,
Oh, I see.
and it went to their business, so I'm guessing it may have to filter. I found some of the big businesses, they filter you out, I mean, I probably come through as spam, so I may not even get through, I don't know. So.
We heard anything from the Hams Corey at all, Pat? Have you had any contact from them at all?
No. No, they said they had to get that environmental study all done before.
Yeah.
It sounded like there might be some roadblocks there. Or that.
You mean hand, on hand?
Yeah, that's what it. Sorry, Bronco for the court.
Yeah.
It's just the same lessor as with the cell phone towers. Just coincidentally.
You won't be here Monday, you said?
I won't be here Monday.
Either the 17th or the 24th, I think we've been posted, the redistricting decision could be made, I think by then. It's been posted for 2 weeks now, so. Which day you guys have, either the 17th or the 24th?
Do whatever.
Doesn't make any difference to me.
So did he give enough time to?
No, I haven't, I don't know if it'll do much good. I mean, I don't seem, when people I visit with, as I visit with people, I get feedback, but you don't get much, you don't get a phone call. I mean, you have to initiate the contact. I mean, it's sad, nobody seems to be interested, to be honest, if they don't seem to be that interested in it, so.
We don't have to post that like so many days before, we just basically.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought, I didn't think we had to do something.
Although I think it's a good idea to get notice and have it on the agenda.
if we do it on Wednesday, it needs to be, so it's posted on there, otherwise we can wait till the 24th or something, so.
So, I could do either or.
It makes a difference to me, just so we get it on the agenda.
24th gives you enough time, that way
Yep.
somebody doesn't say, well, you
Yep.
didn't give us enough time. I don't think we have that issue, but.
I have no problem with that, let's just do the 24th.
And we'll have the wasteland issue out of it.
No,
Hopefully.
it won't, no, that thing ain't gonna go away.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Pat, have you drafted any kind of letter, do you want some input for a letter to the PVD on our behalf?
I have not drafted one.
I think we,
Was
if we do.
that one that Jerry Henry sent there?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it.
So he just sent us each one, but he sent that to the governor, and that's the copy of the governor, and then
He said he was gonna send, I saw him like Thursday evening, and he said he was gonna send a letter.
Can we make it simpler just by having Mr. Lampy come up and just say, would you consider letting this off, or?
I don't think, I think we need to have generic letter to the state.
I did talk with Roger. Roger has a map that he's done that shows the areas that we're talking about, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then I had a little more discussion with him, and what he pointed out is that there are several people that own property, 80 acres, 160 acres, where they hunt. And that's essentially all they do with it, that they've taken it completely out of production, where it's been in production before. He showed me a couple where somebody had a house site with 12 acres of land or something, so there's no fence on it. It's just they want a buffer from their neighbors. It makes a strong argument that those really are not agricultural lands, they are other, for lack of a better classification.
And I'm sure that there are, but I'm a housekeeping director.
Well, the nose is off a little bit too, so
But,
I can't see this one.
No, you went the wrong way, Colleen.
You're good.
That was the focus.
did you come up every time and gonna fix it?
This is part of courthouse security, I check everything.
And then, the letters to the other cities about the future summit meeting, have we got anything on that yet?
On the letters,
To the city, okay.
I will just talk to you after the meeting if you want.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. That's all I got.
How long do you think we need?
30 minutes most.
Okay.
Security measures,
Yes, I can't remember which,
B13.
B13? You're right, B13. So, we have a motion to, go into executive session, for statute 754319 B13 with, commission, county councilor, Sheriff Jack Laurie, and Under Sheriff Joe Butler. Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
How many minutes?
30 minutes, so coming out at 5 o'clock. And if there's anything else, we just adjourn right after that. The other one was like, which vehicle? One of them, and I can't figure this out, but like, one of the vehicles, it was like a really high percentage of time was run on emergency calls. I can't remember which medic, I don't have it with me to do it, but.
Well, I think they're running the fly car in every one of them.
according to what they're showing, it's that EMV one or whatever, isn't that the fly car?
I'm not sure.
According to their data they sent, it only ran like a few times.
I'm still amazed, I mean, you know, because I know the concern was that
Right.
they sure seem to be answering the calls at a good time, I mean, under the circumstances.
We have across from our office, Small Towers, and they have an ambulance call twice a week, it seems like, at least, yeah. Supply cars there, and
I
every
wonder if he like put it down wrong, because he put like medic 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then it's like EMS 1 or whatever it is. Because I thought we asked him that EMS 1 or whatever is the fly car.
They just took all, we need to sign off on, so she can go ahead and pay. They want a check cut.
I want half of the.
Half the ambulance.
This year,
Half
yeah,
of
we've
the
already
rental
paid.
and the other half of the ambulance. I think that's what the email said.
I guess I better double check that, because it seemed like, I think I asked him that, and he said it's EMS 1 or whatever. If that's the case, that's like maybe a handful of times showed up on the spreadsheets. On emergent.
Yeah, it could be they don't report it if someone else goes to, if they send an ambulance, they don't report it.
Well, that's what I asked him, like, why are we running 2 if you're doing that? What's the need to run 2? That's not speeding up, because every time I've seen that fly car run, the ambulance is beating it to it.
The ambulance is beating the fly car there?
Well, yeah. I've heard that from several people too, especially if you're in Abson or in the East District, it's gonna beat up. They're coming originating from the same spot.
Well, but, you know, yeah, you don't know whether it comes from the same spot, that fly car could have been someone else doing treatment too, when it came in.
But the fly car usually up here on Third Street. Maybe I should re-ask them that. I'll send him an email back, just to make sure that looks right. According to it, it was only showing like EMS 1 or whatever, like maybe a handful of times.
Chair, anybody got anything else? I move we adjourn at 5:10.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
She here right now, no action taken.
Yeah, we can't take any action in executive session. Yeah, there's nothing taken after.
No action. Or
Only
no
action
decision.
is we kicked the sheriff out of here, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't come back out and make any decision, right?
Pardon?
You didn't come out of open meeting and make any decision?
No motion,
Okay.
nothing. Nothing.
Do these go on recycling or do you keep your codes?
Awesome.
You don't want to hold?
Huh?
This whole one, and this is, and then.
Good. Some-
No, he was going in Vegas, he was in Vegas. Where you going?
I was on the third.
Yeah.
Oh, were you in?
If you don't want it on Facebook, what?
Was it?
I
Is that the
was.
day 10 o'clock? Yeah. What day
No,
was it?
that's Friday.
That was Friday.